Now let's move on to our tutorial questions. The tutorial gives some introduction to piling and what are the different steps and processes involved with piling. For those of you who are new to piling, please review the video. You can simply click the video and you will be directed uh, to a YouTube video where 60 video and you can roll around, just have a look at different equipments involved and what are the important steps when it comes to piling, so forth. So please review this video. It's a short video. It's only there for 10 minutes. So and it's good to have this understanding before we move on to the other topics, because having this basic knowledge is quite helpful. Right. So let's look at question 1 of the tutorial. The question says a piling contractor must decide on selecting a concrete supplier for their latest project. Following are some statistics on the performance and value of the two different suppliers. If Connex, the first supplier, is selected as a supplier, purchasing the estimated quantity of concrete would cost $25,000 and will be having a chance of 75% successful operation. There's also a 25% chance of facing irregularities, where there's a 65% chance it to be minor rectification, or else it would be major rectification. And the Chem Plus, which is the other company, would supply for a value of $30,000, and they say its production to be with an 85% reliability of successful operation, although it's slightly expensive compared to the rival firm. And in case any irregularities occur, there is a 75% chance it would be a minor rectification. And the question asks us to assume the rectification to be done by the piling contractor, and there won't be any dependency on the concrete supply, right? So that means the cost for rectification, whether it's a minor or major, the cost would be the same for these two, but whoever the supplier is, nevertheless, it would be the same for the rectification, the cost. And considering the financial benefit, advise the piling contractor on which supplier to be selected for the project. Right. So, okay. So this is the question, and let's go to our workbook and start a decision tree. Right. So our decision is about a concrete supplier, right? So let's start. Yeah, let's start here. Let's name this as a concrete supplier. Right. Okay. So, uh, two companies. We need to select two companies, right? So there's a decision involved, and if we select Connex, it would be 25,000 the cost. But if we select Chem Plus, it would be 30,000, right? So we need a decision node, right? Yeah, decision node. The first one is Connex. The value would be 25,000. So we are spending 25,000. So that will be a minus value. And if we select SEM plus, it would be 30,000 minus 30,000. Right. So these are the two decisions that we need to make. Okay. And then let's move back. Okay, we'll be having a chance of 75% successful operation, and there's also a 25% chance of facing irregularities where there's a, okay, so there are two chances soon after making the decision: successful operation and facing irregularities, right? So let's have two chances, and those are successful operation of 75%, otherwise facing irregularities or facing issues would be 25%, right? And if okay, if there is a 25% chance of facing irregularities, it, there's a 65% chance it to be a minor rectification of 3,500, or else it will be 8,000. Right, so minor rectification. There's facing issues has two chances. It would be either a minor rectification of with a probability of 65% and a value of 3,500. Right. Yes, or else a major rectification at the cost of 8,000. Right. Here now, it doesn't say what's the probability, but if you remember my earlier explanation, uh, it has to be 100%, or the probability has to be 1 or 100%. So that means we need to have, there will be a 35% uh, chance where it would be a major rectification with a cost of 8,000, right? Yeah, 8,000. Okay. So, right. Let's move on to SEM plus, KM plus, SEM plus. Yeah. The company market its production to be 85% reliability, right? So mm, the same chances, successful operation, and right. So the successful operation would be 85%. Operation would be 85%. Whereas facing an issue would then be 15%, right? Every chance node should be equal to 100% or 1 in terms of probability. Right, so 15%. Okay. And it says, although it's likely, in case any irregularities occur, there is a 75% chance it would be a minor rectification. Right, so again a chance node. Minor rectification. 75%. Cost would be the same as 3,500. or else a major rectification. So that leaves us with 25% with a value of 8,000. Right. Okay. Right. We are done. Now, one important factor is now if you have a look at the question again, uh, when you were reading the question, you may have sometimes thought selecting the same plus or the second option would have been better, although it cost just 5,000 additional compared to the other company. It's basically there's a higher reliability and higher chance of being a minor rectification. But when we look at our the decision tree, uh, it shows us selecting the con x, right? Uh, would would be there's a difference of around, yeah, roughly around 4,500. Yeah. Uh, yeah, 4,400. Yeah, around that value. There's a difference of that value if we go with con x, right? Now, few things that we need to look at here is uh, we haven't included the gain, right? So, what's the project value when we finish these particular activities? If we have that, the values would change. We may probably have a positive value, but on the other hand, we were only focusing on these values. But let's say there could be a value if succession, uh, if we put a value for successful operation, and considering the time, it could be this could have a higher gain, right, at the end. Because with the rectification, of course, it would obviously spend more money and also it would cost more time. So let's if we have different gains, so we may have ended up with a different decision. But please feel free to play around with the numbers. Just put some numbers and see how this decision may change. And very important now, I mentioned this at the beginning. Uh, the decision tree is not an equation or is not a straightforward thing we are looking at an answer. So we need to take intelligent decisions based on the facts and figures. So it says there is a difference of just 4,500 uh, between these two values, but still we may uh, considering the higher successful operation rate, we may take a conscious decision, knowing the facts, that we need to go ahead with the same plus. So likewise, there's different ways, and we can do a sensitivity analysis to see a one-way and two-way sensitivity analysis. Let's look at that during the next question, after the next question. But for now, just focus on developing a simple decision tree and just play around with the numbers and see uh, the variance and how the decision would be changed depending on the numbers you enter, right?